Si on était bien au pays, est-ce qu'on allait prendre la route de l'aventure? Ah mais c'est le président. Un pauvre qui vote pour celui qui l'a rendu pauvre. Si on était bien au pays, est-ce qu'on allait prendre la route de l'étranger? Ah mais c'est le président. À l'Assemblée, il y a un vieux. Vraiment. Au Sénat, il y a un vieux. Wonderful. À la présidence, il y a un vieillard. Dans tout le gouvernement, il n'y a que des vieux, des vieux, des vieux. Des jeunes prennent le chemin de la Libye pour devenir des esclaves. Les jeunes prennent la route du désert pour entrer en Europe. Au Sénat, il y a un vieux. À la présidence, il y a un vieillard. Dans tout le gouvernement, il y a que des vieux, des vieux, des vieux. Hi. Good day to the beautiful people of the Cameroons. The beautiful people of British Cameroon. And the beautiful people of La République du Cameroon. What looks like beer, walks like beer, quacks like beer is beer. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a party political broadcast by myself, Maître Mola Alex Dively Singer, the leader of British Cameroon National Party. Ladies and gentlemen, today I don't can talk politics. I don't see, instead of people, them for the focus on our civilians, individuals in British Cameroon. All of them, they are talking about presidential election. When we all know the result, Mr. Biya will have at least 70% in October. Come and remind me if he doesn't have it. But at the end of the day, I've looked at all the people. Since 1992, ever since the reintroduction of multi-party politics in the Cameroon, most of the people who come to say they want to be presidential candidate, they have never been elected. They have never been members of parliament. They have never been councillors. They have never been mayor. If they cannot vote you as a councillor, a mayor, or a parliamentarian, do you think they will vote you as a president? These people don't know how politics works. Since 1992, they have been doing their politics of personality cult. We of British Cameroon National Party, we have been saying, these people, they come, is it beauty context? They want us to vote them because they are handsome or what, we don't know. People since 1992. Each time they come, they don't have a manifesto. We have been singing that, only British Cameroon National Party. But today, they come and pretend that they have a manifesto. They don't. They don't even know. They just copy the thing. Manifesto is this. That is why British Cameroon National Party is calling for all those who say they want to be presidential candidate. Let's have this debate. To come and sit and say something, then you cannot tell the people how you're going to make that thing to actually happen. If you sit there, you talk is talk. The problem is, if you have ideologies and people cannot scrutinize you with other candidates on the same platform, it means what looks like beer, walks like beer, quacks like beer is beer. Why are you afraid? If you want to tell the people that the Cameroon is different today, even if Mr. Biya doesn't want to debate, let's debate. It will be exciting. People will know the type of leadership they are getting to. all went through schools, colleges, university. And the only test they can test you when you read is for you to write an exam. So if you come and sit on a platform like myself and just talk, then people cannot challenge you. It doesn't make sense. I've been watching, I've been listening to most people who are aspiring that they want to be presidential candidate. As the leader of British Cameroon National Party, I have a lot of things in mind. I've lived in the Cameroons. I've studied a lot of things for a long time, for years upon years. I know the Cameroons. These people, they don't seem to understand the Cameroons. They don't. You can live there, you can walk there, but they don't understand the Cameroons. When you look at Chad, the Cameroons is not different from Chad. When you look at Gabon, the Cameroons is not different from Gabon. When you look at all these French African countries, the Cameroons is not different from them. The only difference in the CEMAC organization is British Cameroon. The country that have English heritage. That's the only difference. But the rest, CEMAC, is being run by France. And no presidential candidate is coming to tell us how are you going to stop France to be manufacturing the money of the Cameroons? How are you going to stop France to be deciding on our educational system, socio-political situation? You cannot tell us. There are some important things that I've been looking at. I think these people will come and talk. All they do, if I'm elected president, but they fail to understand that to build a strong country, you need to talk with the people. I've waited for so long. I thought some of them might be intelligent enough to say these things. I could trust somebody to an extent if you are a presidential hopeful, if you would have mentioned one of the following things that I'm going to mention. You talk about, if I were to be elected the president of the Cameroons, I would call a constituent assembly. None of them, they don't talk about it. Maybe they don't even know about it. Because in the Cameroons, we have never had a constituent assembly. In all democratic countries that had independence, they call a constituent assembly to draft a constitution. It has never happened in the Cameroons. We have constitutions that are imposed on us. If you look at democracy like France, India, Pakistan, Britain, most of those countries, they call a constituent assembly. You bring all the brains in the country to draft a constitution. Unlike in the Cameroons, you take one person, led by Professor Joseph Owona. No, one person cannot draft a constitution of a country. It's a constituent assembly. But no presidential candidate is talking about this. Again, all of them, they are afraid. They just want to be another Mr. Biya. They cannot come and talk about, oh, if I were to be elected a president in the Cameroons, I'll call a sovereign national conference. A sovereign national conference is something we have been fighting for more than 40 years. But none of these candidates, they cannot talk because they want to be another Mr. Biya. A sovereign national conference will involve all of us in the Cameroons, all the ethnicities. They've British Cameroon and La République du Cameroun. So we start everything from scratch, but they are afraid. They want to be another Mr. Biya. They speak like Mr. Biya, all of them. They hide themselves. They think they are the most intelligent people on earth. Oh, I'm going to stand, come and ask me question. Ask you question like who? Let's sit all of us on a panel and let the people ask the same question on Anglophone problem, on economic, France CFA, interest rate, monetary policy. The list goes on. Then all of you answer on the same platform. Why are you people scared? Or you always say, come and join me. Ladies and gentlemen, I've spent nearly all my life fighting for the Cameroons. Somebody will just come and join me and support you when you have been doing nothing. Today, as I speak, even in the capital of La République du Cameroon, no electricity. For how many days? I speak with people there. Rusty pipe water, bad hospital, bad road. But none of these so-called presidential hopeful can go and protest in the street. If you cannot protest now because there is no electricity, there is no water, do you think it's when you're going to become president that you're going to do those things? No, you will not do it. You won't do it. People sleep every day with no electricity. You cannot hold a placard and go and protest. In the Western democracy, most politicians, they protest. They go to the street and they protest. Another issue again, most of them, they are afraid. None of them, either they don't know, they cannot talk about it. Equal status. To recognize the fact that two countries came together. We cannot be talking about reunification of the Cameroons, because if we want to do reunification of the Cameroons, it means we are going to be what? Rio dos Cameroons. And what was Rio dos Cameroons? A slave sugar Portuguese plantation. So if you say, let's have reunification, we are going to be a slave sugar plantation. It was not a country. There was no country called German Cameroon. There was no country called British Cameroon. There was no country called, I'm talking when it was under the colonialists. It was not a country. Under these people, Portuguese, it was not a country. Under German, it was not a country. Under French, it was not a country. It became a country when La République had a prime minister called Amadou Ahidjo. They had their parliament, they have their population, they have their international boundary, their territory. We became a country when Dr. Endeli became Prime Minister of British Southern Cameroon. We had our territory, we had our parliament, we had our political parties. That was a country. Don't tell me that we were not independent, because in order to be a country, you need three characteristics: political authority, a territory, and a population. La République had its own separately, we had our own separately. None of these so-called presidential hopeful, they are not bold enough like British Cameroon National Party to come and say we should be equal status. They cannot say it because it's a game. What looks like Mr. Biya, walks like Mr. Biya, quacks like Mr. Biya is Mr. Biya. Again, none of them, they cannot come and tell us that at least if I were to be elected president of the Cameroons, about 80% of our natural resources will be manufactured in the Cameroons. Because what? They want to please the slave masters. They want to please France. They want to please Britain. They want to please America. They are not telling you that we should stop exporting our things. We should start creating jobs in the Cameroon. We should start making that country to be paradise. They cannot say it. They just want to stand. They think presidential election is about beauty contest. Again, none of them, they are not telling us that all the properties that were stolen by some politicians in the Cameroons, we are going to make sure that they give those property back. None of them, they are not saying it. They are silent. They are not talking about that Article 65 of the Constitution of La République du Cameroon, which talk about the right of self-determination. They are going to uphold it and respect it. They are not talking about how they are going to protect individual liberty, mutual respect, the rule of law, and democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look at most politicians in the Western world, They brought changes without being in power. To us, some of us of British Cameroon National Party, we don't believe you have to be a president in order to change a country. We change things in the Cameroons without ever being in power. We fought hard and forced the chop people their money, CPDM, for them to give Biya University and others. We were not in power. We forced them to give us GCE board. We were not in power. We forced them to give us multipartism. We were not in power. We forced them to give us fake special status. We were not in power. We forced them to give us their fake decentralization and regional assembly. We were not in power. We forced them to give us national conference. They gave us tripartite. We were not in power. So ladies and gentlemen, these people who always disappear, after 7 years they appear. I want to be president. Maitre Mola Alex Ndivel-Lisinga said, don't trust them. Don't trust them. If you cannot protest for simple electricity, bad hospital, is it when you're going to be president that you protest? We have changed the Cameroons as opposition more than the people who are silent. They always appear to legitimize Mr. Biya's election. That's why they always come after 7 years. People have died because of some of them. People were killed when we used to have Parliament in Guakele. People died. People were killed in Bamenda when SDF launched a political party on the streets of Bamenda. People have died, but these people, they keep on living. And they are hoping that there will be another presidential election in October so that people should die for them. Then they will say they have rigged the election. You don't need to wait for presidential election to change a country. Don't kill people. Don't make people to die for you for your lies. Because we all know Mr. Biya will still win the election. Stop killing people indirectly. You know you are not going to win the election. If you want change, join us. Let's change the country today. Don't wait for October. You have been doing the same thing for a long time while expecting a different result. In October 1992, Mr. Biya had what? 39%. John Fundi have 35%. In October 1997, Mr. Biya had 97%. Ugwele had 2%. In October 11, 2004, Mr. Biya had 70%. Fundi had 17%. In 9th of October 2011, Mr. Biya had 77%. Fundi had 7%. On the 18th of October 2018, Mr. Biya had 70%. Kamto had 14%. What has changed? What has changed? You people keep on deceiving us. You go there to legitimize Mr. Biya and you say, oh, the election. At the end of the day, President Paul Biya will have 70% or more in October. Then you will say they have rigged the election. Then you will go and be pretending in the Constitutional Council and be reading speech. Then after that, then Mr. Biya will beat your legs, all of you. Then they will kill 1 or 3 people. Then you keep quiet again and wait for another 7 years. That's what you people have been doing. You're not fit for purpose. When I look from a distance, I don't see any person fit to be a presidential candidate. If you want to be a presidential candidate, you can be fighting for change. We have a list system that we don't vote for people directly. Nobody talks about it. We have indirect universal suffrage for senator. Nobody talks about it. We don't elect our mayors directly in the Cameroons. Nobody talks about it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be a presidential candidate, you have to be radical and you have to tell us in detail what you're going to do. The economic, the health system, the policing, the taxation, the environment, fishery, and policing. We don't need to have gendarmerie nationale. Each community is different. We have to have different police. We don't need to be using French inherited institution from La République du Cameroun on British Cameroon. We have different institutions. They don't force the people of Quebec, Canada to use the same institution. They don't force the people, Scottish people or Northern Ireland or Wales to use the same institution. You don't force Flemish people in Belgium to use the same institution with French in Belgium. You don't force people with different culture, the people of Hawaii in America or California, to force them to use the same institution. It's the system that matters. The Cameroon was constructed under a slave system so that those who are in power, the Western country, will be able to still be taking the things from the Portuguese sugar slave plantation, Rio dos Cameros. Ladies and gentlemen, trust matters. We have wasted a lot of time in our life by voting or supporting people who stand for nothing. Either is my brother, or is my countryman, or is my this. You cannot change a country based on that basis. I have that record. If you see my record for more than 40 years, ever since I was a boy, I've been saying the same thing. I've been fighting for equal status for Anglophone all my life. When I was a boy, today people are fighting for something that I used to fight for it when I was a boy. The problem is, we always want quick fix. We see, oh, the wind is blowing this direction, we follow it. I always say, those who follow the crowd do not go further than the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a party political broadcast by myself, Maitre Mola Alex Ndive Lisinge. Have a great and wonderful day to the beautiful people of British Cameroon and La République du Cameroun. Ciao.
Un pauvre qui vote ou celui qui l'a rendu pauvre. Si on était bien au pays, est-ce qu'on allait prendre la route de l'étranger?